Commanders hire Dan Quinn to match with their new general manager, Adam Peters, to lead this franchise into the future.
The way that we live is not for everybody, okay? It's not, all right? Because we're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner.
Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So the Washington Commanders made a couple of roster moves today. One very notable. Yesterday, they released kicker Kade York, which I think was expected by most fans after a very lackluster Week 1 performance. Now, I wasn't sure if they were going to pull the trigger that quickly. I was glad to see that they decided to do that because I didn't see what I needed to see from Kade York. And that's why in the preseason game, I was so hot. Remember, I had like a mini rant when they messed up an opportunity for him to kick like a 50-yard, field goal in the game and ultimately had to punt. I was really disappointed because I wanted to see him be stressed, right? Have to kick a further kick than 33 yards, which is essentially what he kicked. I think he made 2 field goals in the game, and both of them were right around extra point distance. So remember yesterday I talked about there was a rumor floating around that in order for Washington to get their pick back, that 7th rounder that they were sending conditionally to the Browns, Kade York had to be on the roster past week 2, right? If he was on the roster for 2 weeks, he was going to the first 2 weeks of the regular season, rather, that pick would then go to the Cleveland Browns, and we would not be able to get it back. That was the condition, right? It was a conditional 7th round pick. The condition was if Kade York's on the roster for 2 weeks, so this week 1 and then week 2, once he played in the week 2 game, that pick goes to the Browns. They saw he wasn't getting it done in week 1, and they went ahead and cut him so that they could get their 7th round pick back. And I agree with that move. Would they have cut Kade York had a 7th round pick not been on the line? I don't know. I don't think they would have, to be honest with you. But I can't say. I'm not going to try to predict what they would have done. I know what they did do, and I'm glad they've done it. And I don't know if Austin Seibert, the kicker that they signed to replace Kade York, we'll talk about him. We'll look at his statistics from his NFL career to this point, and I'll project what I think he's going to be for us. I don't know if he's the answer, and we may be looking for another kicker 3 weeks from now. Who knows? But Kade York didn't feel like the answer. That's what I did feel in my gut. He didn't feel like the answer. And looking at him, there's a certain look that I want to see from my kicker. He's not gonna be excited after he misses a kick. Joey Sly's look after a miss was stunned. Like, I can't believe I didn't make that kick, right? And there's disappointment, and then there's looking like you want to vomit before you kick the football. And Kade York had that Billy Cundiff look that for me, I'm not comfortable with my kicker looking like he wants no part of getting out on the field and knocking down a kick to help his team. He just didn't seem like he was a guy that you could count on in those types of situations. So Kade York out, in with Austin Seibert, who was a 5th round selection, I believe, of the Cleveland Browns. So yet again, we're going to the Cleveland Browns well again, and it did not work for us the first time. But let's see. Maybe the second time's the charm for us with the Browns. They got our old guy, Dustin Hopkins, so let's call it the 3rd time's the charm. We swapped kickers with them, and now we're going back to that well again. His last stop in the NFL last year was the New York Jets, where he had 1 kick against the Cowboys. He made that kick, and then that was it for him. The Jets already had a kicker. He was injured. Seibert came in, filled in for 1 week, and that was that. So let's get to Austin Seibert and talk about what he could potentially bring to the table. Also, before we do that, the Commanders added a tackle to the practice squad, Aneem Dankwa, who I think our general manager, Adam Peters, is hoping for Trent Brown results here. Like, this is a massive man out of Howard, undrafted, obviously, 6'8", 353 pounds. Again, gives me, Trent Brown vibes as a right tackle potentially. And so Remember, Adam Peters was in San Francisco with Trent Brown when he was drafted out of Florida at probably 6'9", 370 pounds, maybe. Trent Brown, massive man. We've all seen him in the league. And I didn't think he would work in the NFL. And, surprisingly, he did, right? And he had some moments where he was flat out dominant, especially in New England. So hopefully this kid can develop on the practice squad and they'll see what they have. I won't hold my breath. I don't think our starting right tackle is on the roster, in the future. So we'll see, but doesn't hurt to take a swing, right? So add him into the mix and see what he can provide. But let's take a look at Austin Seibert, a guy that will be contributing to this team this season, and we're hoping in a positive manner. Look, at this point, we just want to end this kicking saga. We want to find a guy. Even if Austin Seibert isn't the long-term answer, can we just get a kicker to get us through the season at this point? I mean, we've had a kicking carousel already, and we're not even 2 weeks into the season yet. Okay, we've already had 5 different kickers in our building this season, and we're not even 2 weeks in. I mean, this is a joke at this point. So can we just find a guy to get us through the 2024 season? And if we have to draft a kicker, and I'm not a big fan, but we got like 9 7th-round picks at this point. If we have to draft a kicker, I'm all for it. Just get us through the season, somebody. Let's see if Austin Seibert can be that guy. Let's take a look at what he was able to do throughout his career and see what kind of confidence that he either does or does not instill in us as fans going into Week 2's contest versus the New York Giants. So as you can see, his career numbers are in front of us. And, I'm going to highlight certain ones because, that's what I like to focus in on. So 45 of 56 from distance in his career, field goal wise, 80.4%. That's not great, by the way. That's not a great number. That doesn't instill confidence in me at all. He wasn't a great college kicker either. So to me, I'm just going to be honest with you. This doesn't feel like a guy that's just going to all of a sudden have the light bulb go on and just be this prolific kicker. But you just never know with kickers, right? You just have no idea when the light bulb is finally going to come on. I was hoping it would happen with Kade York. It didn't, obviously, with us. Maybe it'll happen with someone else. Maybe his career is over in the NFL. Who knows? But you never know when it's going to happen. And it usually doesn't happen to us. We're the team that is right before they figure it out, right? That's usually who we are and what we provide, right? Our role in a kicker's ascension is we're the team that he starts to figure it out with, but doesn't quite get there. But we go through all the growing pains as he figures it out. And then the next team reaps all the benefits. That's usually what we are in a kicker's process. This guy is 1 foot out of the door, right? This 2024 season got underway and he was not on an NFL roster. So he's almost out of the league. This is probably going to be one of his final shots. If this doesn't work, Austin Seibert will be kicking in the, UFL? Is that what it's called now? Whatever it's called. He'll be kicking in that league more likely than not. But I don't love the 80% off the top. That doesn't instill confidence in me, okay? We've cut other kickers that had 86 and 87% career field goal percentage. So this 80 doesn't move the needle for me at all. So as you go through the distances that he's kicked from, 6 of 6 from 20 to 29, you better be 6 of 6 from 20 to 29. 20 of 20 from 30 to 39, that's positive. He didn't miss any of those kicks. We've had quite a few kickers come through here who have missed kicks in that chip shot field goal range. 40 of 49, that's the money distance. Ouch. 17 of 24 is not a confidence builder for me. Now, I will say, a lot of these misses, almost half of them came in his rookie season with the Browns where he was 9 of 12. But that's a larger sample size, and that might be more of who he is than the 5 of 6 or the 2 of 3 that he had when he was a member of the Detroit Lions in 21 and 22. 50 yards plus, that doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. 2 of 6, His long of his career is 53. That doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy either, but at least I know he has the capability to hit a 50-plus yarder. How far can we go? I don't know. Can we go to 55? Can we go to 56? Can we get to 58? I'm not sure about how long his leg will extend. Pause. So I'm not loving the numbers that I see here, and I'm not going to tell you that he can't do it. I'm just telling you that I'm not going to be 100. I'm not going to be really positive about him getting it done here. This is another thing that really bothers the hell out of me. His extra points, right? For a guy that is perfect from field goal distance, 30 to 39 in his career, 20 of 20, he's missed 6 extra points, okay, which is 33 yards. So the inconsistency here is jarring, which is why he's not on an NFL, wasn't on the NFL roster before we signed him. He's inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get from him week to week. You don't know if you're going to be able to rely on him. Dan Quinn wanted momentum, and he sent Kade York out on the field for a 55, 56-yard field goal attempt versus Tampa Bay, and he missed. Are you even attempting a 55 or 56-yarder with Austin Seibert, or are you going to just punt? Like, I love that Dan Quinn was aggressive there. Don't be on some Ron Rivera bitch shit punting the football from, the opposing team's 38-yard line. Kick the damn field goal or go for it on 4th down. Like, one of the two, Now, if our defense turns into this lights-out unit and you can pin them in, because Tress is probably going to pin them inside the 10-yard line, probably at the 10, right? Whatever. If they fair catch it at the 8, great. But if you feel like your unit can go down and get a stop and you're going to get great field position back, okay, I'm okay with that. But for where we were in that Bucs game, we weren't getting a stop, clearly, right? We weren't going to go force the Bucs 3 and out. We hadn't done it all day, right? So the likelihood, I think we did force 1 3 and out. The one time we got a stop in the game, I think was a 3 and out. But the likelihood is that this defense wasn't going to get a stop. So why even punt the football? So I don't know if Austin Seibert is a guy that you can send out for a 55-yard field goal and feel confident that he's going to make it. But I can tell you these numbers don't inspire confidence. Not for me, at least. I can't speak for anyone else out there. And I'm just going to say this. I don't think he's the answer either. Truly, looking at these numbers, looking at the inconsistency, 25 of 29 in his rookie season, you could argue that you can't argue. That was his best season. And if you're telling me that his best season was his first season and then he got progressively worse as his career wore on, that doesn't make me feel comfortable with him being the kicker moving forward. All right. He started out really well with the Browns, didn't finish the season well, struggled in camp, missed his 1 kick and the extra point against the Ravens in that opener in 2020, and they cut him. They said, okay, enough of this. Similar to what we just did with Kade York. They cut his ass. We don't have time for this shit. And he went to Cincinnati that year, and he went 6 of 8. But once again, missed a 40 to 49-yarder, which is in the money distance, and then he missed the only 50-yarder he attempted, and the Bengals then drafted Shooter McGavin, or Shooter, their kicker, Shooter McPherson. So Detroit gave him a spin, and he was solid, 10 of 12, right? But once again, missed another 40 to 49-yarder, and then missed another 50-yarder. They gave him, but they said, hey, you finished up the season for us nicely. We're going to give you a shot in 2022. He came out, and he missed another 40 to 49-yarder, and he missed another 50-yarder, and they said, okay, we don't have time for this shit. And they moved on from 3 games in, okay? And the Jets gave him a whirl in 2023 only because their kicker, Nick Folk, was injured. He made 1 kick from 30 to 39 yards, and they said, okay, thank you for your service. And they moved on from him, and that was it. And so no other team said, hey, let's give him a shot. I think this guy's going to be marginal at best. I don't think we found our kicker, and I I hate to say this, but I don't think this is the last time we'll be looking for a kicker this season. These numbers don't make me feel good. I didn't even love this guy at Oklahoma. Okay. I didn't even love him at Oklahoma. So I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think we solved the damn thing, but we had to do something. This wasn't one of those just doing something for the sake of doing something. No, Kade York sucked. Okay. So something needed to be done. But like I've told you guys with other positions, because magically you want to wave a magic wand, a lot of you do, and fix this roster. Let's go get this corner, or let's go get this guy, or let's go get this tackle. And none of those guys are going to help. None of those guys are going to improve this roster. You have what you have at this point. Kicker is one of the few positions where you just say, all right, let's just try another one. All right, let's just try another one. Let's just see if we can. Like, kicker is one of those positions because kicker isn't impacting anything else, right? Like, you bringing in a corner, he has to assimilate to the rest of the defense. He has to be able to communicate with the rest of the defense, right? He has to know what's going on. He has to know the scheme. He has to figure out how he fits in. The kicker doesn't have to do any of that. Just kick the damn ball through the uprights and kick it off. You know, and if you're going to kick it out of the end zone, kick it out of the end zone. If you're going to kick it in the landing zone, kick it in the landing zone. Don't kick the shit out of bounds, okay? That's the one thing you can't do. Kade York did that. Don't miss the field goals. He missed both of them. All right, get out of here. All right, just go. So let's see what Austin Seibert has. I'm just going to allow the process to play itself out. I hope I'm wrong about him. I hope he figures it out with us. Just like I hoped Kade York figured it out with us, and he didn't. I hope Austin Seibert figures it out, and we've got a kicker. I'm sick of this shit already. I really, truly am. And I saw this coming, and I told you, a lot of you talked about the offensive line. You talked about the cornerback position. Some of you talked about receiver. Don't have enough there, this, that, and the third. And you might all be right. But you know the thing that I kept saying I'm most worried about was the kicking situation. Because I could see this shit coming a mile away. We just went through this shit back in 2021. We just went through this, right? In 2021, when we went through all of these kickers, when Rivera finally got the balls to cut Dustin Hopkins after the Chiefs game. And then we went through Blewett and Johnson and finally landed on Joey Sly at the end of that season, right? I think that might have been the 2022 season that we finally cut Dustin Hopkins. I think we played the Chiefs in 2022. I think. Whatever. Whether it was 21 or 22. I can't remember the year we played the Chiefs. That was the year we played Jameis Winston and the Saints. Yeah, that was 21. I was right because we started that season 2-6 and felt like it was over. And the Super Bowl defending champion Buccaneers came to town after a bye week and we beat them. And then we went on that 4-game win streak. So 2021. I just don't want to do that again, but we're well on our way. We're already down a kicker on our second guy 2 weeks into the season. Hopefully Austin Seibert. I got my fingers crossed. Hopefully Austin Seibert answers some of these issues, but I'm not very confident. So let's go to in other news, where we find ourselves looking for answers. So I'm going to try to predict what's next for the Commanders as they try to, figure out. And again, it's not an overreaction. It's 1 week. If this group starts to panic after a week, we're in trouble. And I didn't see panic from Dan Quinn. I saw a coach that was pissed off, more so disappointed in the fact that they put in all this work and they didn't go out and do the things that they said they wanted to do. And Dan Quinn strikes me as a guy that's about action, not about a bunch of talking. So he gave me the sense that, no, we're going to be better next week. Don't you worry. This is a great opponent to try to get better against. And if you're going to start to win in the division, you need to start with the Giants, right? So I'm going to try to predict some of the changes that you could see them making. I don't know if they're going to do this or not. I still think they're going to hang in there with Emmanuel Forbes this coming week. I don't think they're going to bail on him yet. I would. bail on him in this sense, not cut him or anything. A lot of people, hey, no. We don't need to cut him. But I do think that if I'm the Commanders, I'm looking for some sort of solution at corner. I think that's where I start, right? Because a lot of what happened in the game is correctable. Like nothing that I watched from this defense in particular made me go, "Oh shit, we're in trouble, man." Like we have limitations at the cornerback position. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We knew that going into the season, and there's nothing we can do about it. We're gonna have to draft or sign a guy with high-level NFL talent that can cover. We don't have that guy that can cover a Mike Evans for 4 quarters. So when we see elite receivers, expect them to go ape shit on us if we don't get to the quarterback, right? That said, we've seen Benjamin St-Juste hang in, not blanket Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson still had over 100 yards receiving in that game, right? But he forced an interception. He had an interception called back, and he competed his ass off against Justin Jefferson. He's capable, is Benjamin St-Juste. But you can do better than Emmanuel Forbes. And whether the answer is Noah Igbenogany or Michael Davis, who did not have a single defensive snap in the game, they've got to figure that out. I wouldn't roll Emmanuel Forbes out in week 2. I'd try my hand at someone else and just see what you've got. And I think that guy that's going to be up next is Noah Igbenogany. That's the guy that they put in the game. So my guess is that's the guy that they're most comfortable with. And he didn't play poorly. I actually liked what I saw to Noah Igbenogany. So I think he's going to be next up, and we'll see what happens. But that's one thing that I would do. I think they want to get Johnny Newton back as soon as possible. Now, I think they're going to treat him like they treated rookie Brandon Coleman and work him in. And look, Johnny Newton isn't a starter, so he's not going to come in and be playing massive reps. I expect them to work him in if he's ready to go this week, and there's no guarantee that that'll be the case, but if he's ready to go, that's going to be a massive help on the inside. Another guy that can get to the quarterback, another guy that is capable of really doing damage up front. I didn't think the defensive line was bad. As a matter of fact, I've said this, I thought they were really good against the run. They ran out of gas. I thought they got tired. Up until that possession where we had them pinned deep in their own territory and Bucky Irving bust off those 2 big runs, they really didn't have anything to show for their ground game. We shut them down. So I felt really good about the run defense, and I thought we were active, and I said this multiple times. We were active up front. But I think one of the biggest adjustments you'll see on the offensive side of the football is they got to get Terry McLaurin going early and often, and I think they will. This doesn't strike me as a staff that's going to ignore the elephant in the room. Like if it's Tell the Truth Monday and everybody's subjected to Tell the Truth Monday, then the staff needs to be subjected to that as well. And I think Dan Quinn needed to go to Cliff Kingsbury and say, hey, we got to get the ball to 17. You gotta draw up some plays where we're getting the ball to 17. And even if that looks like a wide receiver screen on the first possession of a game, so be it. But he shouldn't go an entire half without a target. I'm sick and tired of having this conversation as well. Like, this shit isn't rocket science. It was funny. I think it was maybe Kevin, the PRF, I want to say it was last night, that hit me up on socials as the Jets and the 49ers were playing. And he said, Terry McLaurin must be sick right now watching Garrett Wilson on the first drive, or it was the third drive of the game for the Jets. But how many times did he touch it on that drive? More than Terry touched it the entire game for us. All right. More than the amount of targets Terry had. He only had 4 targets in the game and 2 catches. Garrett Wilson probably had 5 or 6 touches on that drive alone that the Jets scored that touchdown on. And, I've watched the Sunday night game with Cooper Kupp, and he's got 21 targets in that game. 14 catches for Cooper Kupp. That's how you treat a number one wide receiver. How is it that our guy, and I don't want to hear about what we don't have. Do you know who the other receivers are for the Rams? Puka Nacua got hurt early in that Rams game against the Lions. Okay? They had Tyler Johnson and Demarcus Robinson at receiver. Don't talk to me about not having enough at wide receiver and making that an excuse as to why Terry can't get the football. Give me a break. This is a conversation that I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of having. If he's a number one, treat him as such. If he's not, then okay, fine. Don't pay him number one wide receiver money then. But if he's going to be a number one, then you need to treat him as such, and he should be getting the football. He should be force-fed the football. We shouldn't be having conversations about where's Terry McLaurin? Why isn't Terry getting the football? Why doesn't he have a target in the first quarter? Why doesn't he have a target in the second quarter? Why doesn't he have a target in the first half? And then he gets open and we miss him. And then we don't come back to it. Like, make it make sense. To me, one of the first adjustments in this game has to be 17 has to be an integral part of whatever we're doing moving forward, period. Matter of fact, scrap the period, exclamation point. If that's not the case, then we have ourselves a serious problem. And it starts with the staff. And I actually thought Cliff Kingsbury did a really good job in this game. But even watching the game, I still didn't see 5 or 6 more targets for Terry. I saw other guys open. I saw other opportunities. I didn't see a bunch of, man, Terry was open there. Should have got it to him. I saw that for Ertz and Olamide Zaccheaus and Austin Eckler and other guys. I didn't see that for Terry. Draw up plays that allow Terry to get open, or at least draw it up where he's the number one read. I'm telling you right now, I watched the film, and we'll do that as the mob tonight. And I'm going to do a free preview tonight. So this one will be open to everyone. And if you're a mob member, I need you in the comment section of this video. I want to take a little bit of a poll right now and a vote. So this is what I need from you. If you're a member of the MOBB, I want you to tell me in the comment section if we should allow non-mob members to comment in the video tonight. Okay? So I'm going to open it up, the film session, so they can see what they're missing out on, so they can join the mob if they're interested. And if you think that they should have access to commenting during the stream, let me know down in the comment section. If you guys say no, then I'll turn off comments for non-mob members. And only the members of the mob can comment on what we're watching. Because we're going to have a lot of foreigners, a lot of people. And if they come in and they're spamming and they're trolling, I'll shut it off. You know that. All you guys got to do is say the word and I'll cut it off. We're not playing that shit because this is our time, right? So if you're a member of the mob or you're on Patreon or both, leave it down in the comment section and I'll adjust accordingly. So we're going to watch the film, but as I mentioned, there weren't a lot of opportunities for Terry in this game. And that's on the staff. So I thought that we were past this because when we watched it, and again, one of the things that bothered me was in the preseason, we got one thing, and then we got in the regular season, we got something else. And I'm not telling you that it's supposed to look like the regular season, but I liked the process in the preseason, which was in every game, they got Terry a target. Right? The Jets game, they got him. It was a slot screen. I don't give a shit. It was a touch. We had one possession with the starters, and Terry got a touch. The Jets game, he got targeted 2 or 3 times. Or excuse me, the Dolphins game, he got targeted 3 times. He had the hitch, and then he had the other hitch that he caught, and he broke the tackle, got up the field, and then he had the throwaway that was in his direction. Right? But they were actively seeking out Terry McLaurin. What happened in the first game of the season, right? Dyami Brown's a part of the offense. He's a part of the offense against the Jets, although that was a audible and it made him a part of the offense. I don't think they were going to him on that third down. That was supposed to be a screen, as we all know, right? But Dyami got it, right? Gets the Dolphins, Dyami. I mean, they were feeding Dyami. We get to the regular season and Dyami Brown doesn't even get a single target. I just want to know what is going on here. We don't have enough talent for De'Ami Brown to not get a target. So, and then, this whole notion, like, Bleacher Report gets on my nerves sometimes because they take, certain things and they turn them into headlines that aren't really headlines. So if you have the Bleacher Report app, all of a sudden, Dan Quinn says Jayden Daniels needs to throw the ball more. That is not what he said. First of all, he said the called runs, we can't call runs with him running up the middle. I agree. No one wants to see that shit. We're going to run him, needs to be on the perimeter. If he takes off and runs himself, usually it's on the perimeter because I told you he doesn't really escape through the A-gaps. He's a guy that likes to run backwards. I think that could be problematic. If he's going to get sacked and he's going to fumble, a lot of times with those mobile quarterbacks that like to escape backwards, like Lamar Jackson and now Jayden Daniels, a lot of times when they get hit and they fumble, it's usually from behind with guys that they don't see. That said, a lot of his scrambles out of the pocket are going to be to the perimeter because he's escaping backwards to get outside and out leverage guys because he's so fast. He knows he can get around that corner and turn the corner a lot of times. So those designed runs up the middle, like, I don't want to see quarterback power up the middle. And I think that's what Dan Quinn is saying. Like, no, we're not doing that shit no more. Don't call that anymore. You want to run QB draw? Cool. Do that at the 6. Spread them out, run QB draw. I don't mind, right? That's when QB draw should be in full effect. Don't run it at, your own, 37. I don't want to see that shit. But what he was saying, and I agree, and I said this, and you're going to see it when we watch the film, there were opportunities where he took off where guys are open. Throw the football, right? That's what I said. He was gun shy a little bit because he didn't want to turn the football over. And I didn't think he trusts what he saw. And he's going to have to rewire his brain. And that's why I said everything about this game felt like teaching tools. Like, these are good things you can learn from. These are painful lessons. But I told you before the season started, when you're going through the process that we're going through and the stage that we're at, there are going to be a lot of painful lessons that have to be learned, which is why I told you I went into this season with no expectations. I wasn't upset after week 1. I was disappointed because I thought we were going to get a more closely contested ball game. I thought we would be in that game late with a chance to win, but I wasn't upset by the outcome, which was a loss. Whether you lose by 17 or you lose by 2, it's still a loss. I just would prefer to lose by 2, right? Still a loss, but I'd rather be able to say, hey, you make that field goal, or you make that tackle, or you don't have that penalty, you could win that game. You lose by 17, there's no, if you do this, if you do that. You have to say, if you do this, that, and that, yeah, maybe we would have had a shot. But I'm going into this season, and I told you, with no expectations. Just going to let the season play out because I already know what this process looks like. A lot of you should adopt that. A lot of you went into this season with unrealistic expectations. I'm not telling you to change your expectations. I'm not telling you how to think. But if you're expecting this team to be good right out of the gates, I hope this was a wake-up call for you. I really, truly do. And now you adjust your expectations moving forward. But I think this is going to be a team that competes a lot better moving forward. And that includes this week and the following week and moving forward. Will we see different results in terms of wins and losses? Only one way to find out. But offensively, Jayden is going to settle in. He's going to get better. He's going to start to get rid of the football. We're going to see him get more comfortable. And I think this offense will grow as he continues to grow. But defensively, you have to allow him the opportunity to grow. We didn't have enough offensive possessions. We didn't have enough offensive snaps. You got to allow him more reps by getting stops. And like Dan Quinn said, we got to force turnovers, shorten the field for the offense. So you don't always have to go 77 yards. You don't have to go 83 yards. Like a Jayden 21-yard scramble shouldn't just get us to our own 41-yard line, right? How about that 21-yard scramble gets us to the opposing team's 36-yard line? Now you're already in scoring range, another first down or an 8-yard gain, and now you're in really solid field goal range. Stop making it so hard on yourself. Part of that means getting the ball to your playmakers, i.e. Terry McLaurin, right? Let's quickly take a trip around the NFC East, and then we'll get out of here. So the East went 2-2 this week. The two teams that we thought were going to stink in the division this year both lost, and the Giants and the Commanders. Meanwhile, the two teams that we think are going to be good, the Cowboys and the Eagles, both won. One team won decisively, that being the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, if you weren't paying attention, got a massive $240 million deal with 231 of it fully guaranteed. So essentially the entire damn contract is guaranteed fully. I mean, he had him by the balls. I talked about this already. And I told you guys, anybody that was listening, I said, Dak Prescott will have a contract before the start of week 1. Because if he doesn't, he's not going to sign one. And then the Cowboys are really in a state of flux. Because at that point, then Dak really has them by the balls. And I don't think he was coming back if they wouldn't have signed him. He wasn't coming back. So, because somebody was going to pay him way more than that. And Dallas, and I told you this, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and company, they are crazy. They're not stupid. There's a difference, okay? You can call them what you want. You can't call those guys stupid because they're not. They may be very arrogant and cocky. They are procrastinators, right? But they're not stupid. So that deal was definitely getting done, and it did. They love to wait till the last minute to turn their projects in, right? Right up to the last second, they run in. Here you go, Mrs. Awfulheimer. I'm done, right? But they get it in. They always get it in on time, but barely. And then they went out and they kicked the Browns' ass. They were dominant. The Eagles, we talked about this already. They weren't dominant, but they found a way to beat a good Packers team. It was a sloppy game, but they got it done. And they showed how good they were because they turned it over 3 times and they still won, right? We could never turn it over 3 times and still win a game. I don't give a shit who we're playing. We turn it over 3 times, we're going to lose, and we're probably going to get our asses kicked. So they showed how good they are by being sloppy and still finding a way to win. Meanwhile, the Giants looked awful. They looked like one of the worst teams in football. Them and Carolina looked like college football teams. And yet, here we are, nervous as hell going into this game because for some reason, we don't know how to beat the Giants. I should be talking copious amounts of shit about how we're going to bust their shit to the white meat shows and how we're going to get our shit together in week 2 because we got a lackluster opponent that we should be able to pick on. Yet, I'm like, hey, I don't know what the hell's going to happen. They might get their shit off against us. That's the state of our team right now. We got to figure it out. It's a process. It's a process. So, and we know what we look like. So, 1-0 for the Cowboys, 1-0 for the Eagles, 0-1 for the Commanders, 0-1 for the Giants. Commanders and Giants face off this week. Somebody's going to get a tally in the left-hand column. Somebody won't be 0 in the division. Someone will. Let's hope it's not us. We're not at the same point that we were. Like, there's no more rationalizing, and we'll talk more about this as the week progresses, but this is the last thing I'll say, and we'll get out of here. There's no more rationalizing losing to the Giants with, well, we need a quarterback just like y'all need a quarterback, and we're racing to the quarterback. Somebody's got to suck enough to get to that quarterback first. We got ours already. So there's no more rationalizing losing to the Giants by, oh, we want to stop the Giants from getting a quarterback, or, oh, we need to get, no. F that. If we got to do our part to put the Giants in a position to draft 3rd overall, let's sweep their ass. If that's what they need and they're ready for that, let's help. Because we're not at that position anymore. I'm tired of losing to the Giants. They're not a good football team. And I'm tired of them looking like something else when they play us. No more excuses losing to the Giants. They want to lose to us. Their fan base is begging us to beat them. They've been begging us to beat them for the last 2 seasons. I wasn't sure that I wanted to beat them. I knew I wanted to beat them, but I was able to rationalize after the losses, hey, we need a quarterback. And I don't want you getting one before us. Well, we got ours now. So F that. Beat their ass twice. Can't beat them twice without beating them once first. And we got to start taking care of home. And we got to start winning in the division. All of that can start on Sunday. But we'll talk about that more as we get to the Giants. We're still licking our wounds from the Tampa Bay loss. It's Tuesday. We haven't moved on to the Giants till Wednesday. But just know that come tomorrow, the focus shifts to the Giants, and we need that one like we need the football to breathe. And right now, we don't have life on defense because we're not taking the ball away, and we can't beat the Giants, and I need both on Sunday. But we'll talk about that starting tomorrow. Members of the mob, I'll see you tonight. Matter of fact, all of y'all are invited to come out tonight, watch the film, chop it up, take a look at what happened in week 1 and how we can fix some of these things. So looking forward to doing that. But until then, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. I thank you guys for joining me for Commanders Nightly News. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow. We will be live on Commanders Nightly News tomorrow, where we will start our work week against the Giants and turn our attention to one of our NFC East foes. Until then, you guys have a good one. Take care. See you next time.
Here comes the Diesel. Here comes the Diesel. There's the snap, and to Riggins. Good hole.